What's going on, Guardians? It's Tizzle here, and in this video, I'm going to be giving you tips, tricks, and loadout suggestions so that you can easily solo flawless the Duality Dungeon. My build suggestions will all be solar because solar is absolutely OP this season. What with Revitalizing Blast giving you a 15% debuff on bosses and Radiant giving you 25% extra damage. So in my opinion, this is one of the hardest dungeons to solo flawless, and I will get to why that is as the video goes on. But with these tips and suggestions, hopefully you will beat it in no time. So as a disclaimer, I suggest running the dungeon first. Yes, a guide like this will help, but there is no substitute for experience. You will pick up more nuances in the dungeon by doing it than you will ever get from a guide. You will die in a stupid crazy way and then you will learn from that. Lord knows I have. But in this video, I will do my best to point out what to do and what not to do, so hopefully it doesn't take you too long to get through it and get that emblem. Also, I will not be covering basic mechanics here, as if you're attempting a solo flawless, I'm assuming you know the basic bell mechanics. So with that out of the way, let's jump in. The first traversal section is much like the Grasp of Avarice guide. Do whatever works best for you. Practice it if you have to learn the route that you like to go the best, and get used to it. Once you are comfortable, then you're good to go. Now, onto the first boss. There is a tip that will get you a longer DPS phase, and it's extremely easy to do. So when you get transported to the Red Realm, there are 2 Scions that you have to kill and they will drop the standard that you need. So pick one up. Then kill the other Scion, but do not pick up the standard. Then when you go back into that realm, another Scion will have spawned in, but the standard is still there. So you can pick up the standard but not have to kill the Scion. Then when you go back in right before DPS, you can kill that Scion. It adds about 14 seconds to my timer. I go from 54 seconds to 1 minute and 8. This can easily be the difference between a 2-phase and a 3-phase, and the less phases you take, the less chances there are to die, especially in this dungeon. I will let a full rotation play out so that you can see exactly what to do and how this works. It's honestly quite easy, and in the background gameplay, that damage was after a 1-phase without doing the Scion trick. So the damage would have been pretty tight for a 2-phase, but then you can see I easily have enough time to get the 2-phase on my 2nd phase because I did the Scion trick. So again, this is well worth doing. As for the encounter as a whole, you want a loadout that you can shoot the bells quickly and take out visions of Galron quickly, because if you're dicking around with killing the visions, then you will not have as much time to deal damage. Additionally, you want a loadout with some form of restoration. There are snipers that shoot you and adds up during DPS, so survivability is crucial. My go-to for the first fight is the Lament. It heals you as you deal damage with it, and that is invaluable. It also has great ammo economy. I cannot recommend it enough. In my other dungeon guides, I tried to give a variety of loadout suggestions, but here I'm going for optimal strategies. On my Titan, I hot swap to Pyrogales to use the high damage one-off Hammer Slam attack, and then I go in with Lament. The Bonk Hammer allows you to easily get Radiant throughout the fight and proc Revitalizing Blast when it runs out. If you're comfortable with all three characters, then I definitely recommend running this on a Titan. You also want a DPS loadout. So hold armor charges while you are running the standards and then swap to your DPS loadout. You want 3 weapon surges that match your heavy and time dilation mods. Again, I can't express how great Bonkhammer Titan is in this dungeon, but if you do want to use Warlock, I used a Well of Radiance and Sunbracers with Legend of Acreus just for something different, though Acreus is harder to use without the Well. Like I said, survivability matters, and that's why I'm so high on Lament. And Hunter, I also use the Lament and Celestial Nighthawk. Lament is also really nice because you can use it to makeshift sword skate, and that extra bit of movement can be enough to buy you time to get to the bell before you die. And a sniper is really great for shooting the bells to transport yourself. So those are my tips for the first boss. With good damage phases, it should be a 2-phase. And if you run into some troubles with the visions of Galron and just the general fuckiness that often comes with Destiny, it should be a chill 3-phase, which is all you can really ask for in a solo dungeon. Seriously, with Solo Operative and Revitalizing Blast, we are cranking out some major damage this season, and it's enough to knock pretty much 1 phase off any dungeon boss. A couple other tips: you get about 15 seconds of unstable essence from the visions that die, so try and get off a high damage super while you have that buff, such as a Nighthawk Goldie or the Titan Hammer Slam with Pyrogales. It will deal more damage this way. And the other thing that I didn't mention, and it just comes with experience in running the dungeon, make sure you always take out the Bell Keepers ASAP, even before you start damage. And remember which way you have to go to get to the bell to get out. You don't want to die because the bell isn't able to be rung or you went in the wrong direction. From there, we have another traversal section, and it is really hard to give much advice on these parts. Everyone has different jumps and whatever that they're comfortable with. For the long jump on a hunter, stompies are great, and eager edge is okay, but you can also swing past the landing. So, as always, just do what you're most comfortable with. Strand can be a good idea too, so that if you screw up, you can grapple to save yourself. The second encounter is the Vault, and this is a super cool encounter. Here's a map of the areas that I find helpful. For whatever reason, I easily get disoriented in this dungeon. Maybe because it's called Duality, so everything kind of looks the same. It is one reason why I don't overly like soloing this dungeon, and I do find it a bit difficult. So I always shoot the bell from the same spot. This keeps me aligned so that I know where I'm going. Also, don't shoot the bell from the middle, because when you get teleported into the Red Realm, the middle is just a big hole and you will fall into it and die. So a big thing with this encounter is you have to be fast, and that is where Lament works nicely, because again, you can use it to get around a bit quicker. An Eager Edge Sword is also good for this, but not required. Anti-barrier sidearms are also great here, because in the Red Realm, you have to take out all those Cabal, including some phalanxes with their shields. And with anti-barrier sidearm, it is great for mowing them down and shooting right through the shield. I especially love Trespasser. I used it and an enhanced surrounded bequest on my Warlock, and it worked great. And I used the heliocentric sidearm on my Hunter. It also worked awesome. On my Titan, I used Callous Mini Tool and just relied on Radiant to give me anti-barrier to mow down the phalanxes. Also, Ariana's Vow is another good option if you would like to use that. So a big tip with this fight is whatever bell you shoot is how you get out, and the bell keepers spawn opposite to that bell. So if you shoot the higher up bell on the stairs, then the bell keepers will spawn opposite to that bell. Why this is important is depending what symbol you get, you can set it up so that you can leave from that side that the standard is on. So if I was leaving from the top and I had axes, I would shoot the top bell. Then kill the bell keepers when I spawn in. Then I head up to axes, and then when I come down, the bell is open and ready for me to exit, and it is on the side that I am running from. I know it seems like a hyper optimization, but you do have to be fairly quick on this encounter, so that is a way to save a few seconds and can be the difference between life and death. As I mentioned before, run this solo and get used to the rhythm of the encounter. You will understand the little nuances of it and beat it in no time. Simply rinse and repeat, grabbing the standard 6 times and you are done. When it comes to damaging the bosses, the Titan Hammer Slam, Celestial Goldie, and Well of Radiance all work great. You could even use Dawncore's Dawnblade instead. I love using the Lament, again because of the healing, but also the tremendous ammo economy. With how strong we are now too, I was shocked at how quickly the mini-bosses died. They don't have much health for our current level of power creep. So definitely focus on a loadout that is better for killing adds and running the standards, and focus on a build that gives you survivability. Assassin's Cowl Hunter is also a really good option. So after we beat the vault, we have another traversal section. Once again, just use what you are comfortable with here, because we're almost at the finish. On to the final boss. This still remains a pretty decent challenge. You absolutely want a loadout that gives you constant restoration, so make sure you are abusing Ember of Empyrean with whatever you run. Healing grenades are nice too in a pinch. Again, I went with Sunbracers on my Warlock and Ophidia Spathe on my Hunter, and then Bonk Titan on Titan. Pretty much the same setup as throughout the rest of the dungeon on all my characters. I also used many different damage strategies, but my main recommendation is certainly the Lament. I used it to solo Flawless my first time, and I did it in 3 phases back then. But now I was able to 2-phase on every character. Again, you want to be utilizing DPS swaps like you do on the first boss. Have armor charge banked up and use time dilation mods. And if you can, have a decently long range primary for taking out the Scions during damage phase. They are what makes this damage phase so dangerous, and why I like the Lament so much. Because as long as you're dealing damage with the Lament, then you can heal yourself. But if you're able to take out the Scions quickly, that will help you survive this boss fight so much easier. The trouble is, you also have to take out the Incendiors before Keitel gets to the bell, and you don't know what way the boss is going to go, so you have to be very quick. I like using a fusion rifle for killing the Incendiors quickly, or a sniper rifle is nice. A fusion rifle will disintegrate their backpacks, and a crit with a sniper will blow the backpack up. This is important because Keitel can easily stomp on a backpack and kill you, so you want to make sure you are blowing up these backpacks as you go. So yeah, you have to be quick at dispatching these Incendiors while trying to track Keitel and get to the bell before she does so that you can stun her, all while being under fire from Scions. This is why this boss fight is so difficult. You have to do a lot of things correctly, very quickly. It is not easy, so the Lament just takes the pressure off by giving you a source of healing, and you can use it to block shots from the Scions as well if you have to. I don't have much more advice other than that. Again, practice this fight and get confident with your strategy. Once you feel like you got it down, give Solo Flawless a try. This is definitely one of the most difficult boss fights to do solo, there's no two ways about it. Anyways, that's it on the 2024 version of how to solo Flawless the Duality Dungeon. I hope you enjoyed. And if you have never solo Flawless this dungeon, and then you do and this guide helped, please let me know down in the comments. I make these videos for you, and it makes me so happy when I hear that I helped someone. I have a ton of knowledge on this game, and do lots of little things in my runs that many people may not notice. So this guide was to try and point out all those little details that make solo Flawlessing this dungeon just a little bit easier. Anyways, thanks for watching if you're still here. I appreciate it a lot. If you want more helpful Destiny 2 content, then subscribing would mean a lot. And like the video if you learned something. Good luck solo Flawlessing the Duality Dungeon, and take care.